Welcome to our LCF Lifestyle Talk. And today is Thursday at yung episode natin every Thursday is about Tanungan Thursday. So, mga questions na usually tinatanong ng ating mga low carbers and most especially sa mga newbies, sa mga ngayon pa lang nagsisimula ng low carb and fasting lifestyle, yun yung pagtutuunan natin ng pansin ngayon. So, this morning, I made a post on this image, Tanungan Thursday, and we lifted yung mga relevant questions na I feel like kailangan nating i-emphasize. So, not all questions are to be covered for today's talk, but that is why just put in there kung meron pa kayong mga tanong na hindi pa nasasagot so that we can cue them sa ating successive na mga episodes. So first, ang mga questions dito, I lumped it into groups. So meron dito on diabetes, meron din on myoma and female health. May question din on medications, loose stools or loose poops after nung unang mag-break ng fast at iba pa. So this is yours truly, Dr. Rohotan, and this is our episode Tanungan Thursday. So first, meron tayong tatlong questions mostly related to diabetes. So isa-isahin natin. So the first one would be Ma'am Nina. Sabi ni Ma'am Nina Lorena, good day, Doc Grace. My lab test result last September 2022 looks okay naman except po sa sugar, mataas pa rin. Will I still continue my metformin 500 milligram? Right now, I'm taking it MWF. Paano ko malalaman na na-reverse ng aking diabetes? So, we have to ask first kung ano yung lab test na yon. There are many ways to check the blood sugar. Usually, yung pinaka-common na kinukuha to check the blood sugar would be fasting blood sugar. That can give you an idea and that is significant if it is really high. Kapag mataas yung blood sugar, there is a criteria na ito ay considered na as frank diabetes. However, it's not the only gauge, especially kung yung gusto natin is yung strict control talaga of blood sugar. And negative or yung sobrang taas na FBS result may signify diabetes or some degree of insulin resistance. Pero kapag ang iyong FBS ay normal or low, it doesn't automatically mean na safe na kayo na wala kayong diabetes because yung FBS po is just your fasting blood sugar only that time. Mas maganda yung merong long-term na control on blood sugar na makikita talaga. And this would include HbA1c. So HbA1c is the average blood sugar ng isang tao that will be covering approximately 3 months. So hindi ito madaling madaya as compared to FBS. Kasi yung FBS, if we will get a laboratory taken during that day, alam na natin yan. The day before, we will be on a diet, fasting tayo, very, very strict low carb tayo, and it can easily change. And that is why, as much as possible, merong mga types of monitoring to really check if okay na. Another type of blood sugar test na sa laboratory is the 75 OGTT, 75 grams oral glucose challenge test. So, papainumin ka ng isang 75-gram worth of sugar and that is way too much. Kaya ako pala hindi ko na ma-imagine yan. Usually, ginagamit yan for pregnant women because they cannot fast. Hindi kasi sila makapag-fasting masyado. So, when they test for the blood sugar, especially for those na suspected for gestational diabetes, pinapa-OGTT sila. That can also make you see kung ikaw ay merong glucose intolerance, and that is a sign of impending diabetes or frank diabetes. Now, when it comes to reversal, paano malalaman kung na-reverse na yung inyong diabetes? When it comes to reversal or remission, yung definition po ngayon ng remission natin is 1 year na off medications na yung blood sugar is normal or controlled. So, HbA1c of less than 5.7 nang wala nang iniinom medications from a previous diabetic na merong iniinom na medication. So right now, since you still are taking medications and at the same time, sabi mo mataas pa yung inyong blood sugar, then we can easily see na hindi pa talaga na-reverse yung inyong blood sugar. You can try to look how well are you maintaining your low carb, how strict is your adherence to low carb, and of course when it comes to medications, mas maganda meron talaga itong gabay, because if you still don't know the proper monitoring, then all the more bawal na bawal pong bigla mong kukunin yung inyong medications, especially if it's not guided by your own doctor. So yung sa pag-check ng blood sugar, you can check it before meals para malaman mo kung ano yung baseline blood sugar. And then, after a meal, pwede nyo rin i-check yung inyong blood sugar to see kung yung kinain nyo ay totoong low carb. Malalaman natin if yung kinain nyo ay totoong low carb if hindi siya umakyat ng more than 30 units from baseline. And if ever umakyat ito, after 30 minutes, after 1 hour, then most likely hindi yun low carb and you still have some degree of insulin resistance. So that is why it's very important to know kung ano yung pinaka-safe na kainin and kung ano yung kinakain mo na hindi makakapag-spike ng blood sugar, and then you can make a food diary kung ano yung mga pagkain safe para sa inyo. And we have another question, si Divine Linda. Good morning po. Last week, after I visit my endocrinologist, 104.1 kilograms. Now, I'm in 101. So that's a 3 kilogram weight loss. I feel hungry during the night. What can I eat? Last night, I eat peanuts. So, endocrinologists, mostly the ones managing diabetes. So, kung merong weight loss that you achieved. So that is good news. Sobrang ganda po na nagkaroon kayo ng weight loss. And I hope you started doing low carb na. And especially that you are here po sa ating page. And yun nga, every time, since it's just last week, so nasa 1 week pa lang, kung nagugutom ka sa gabi, then it could be na hindi pa talaga enough yung kinain mo during the day. So what can you do? Pwede kang kumain, but what you can eat are in our safe list. Apparently, yung peanuts po natin, nasa caution list po yan. So if you still want to lose weight, if you still want to heal, then you are advised to avoid the ones in our caution list, most especially in our danger list. So marami namang other options. If you want nuts, meron namang ibang nuts dyan na like pecan, walnut, macadamia, and pili nuts. Those are the nuts that you can have. Walnuts are also one of our favorites. So you can eat anything, especially during the adjustment or transition period, which we usually allocate approximately 2 weeks sa mga nagsisimula pa lang. And you can see na eventually, hindi na po kayo magugutom, especially if you still have extra weight that you can lose. If you still have those extra weight that you can lose, then all the more you don't need to eat so much. Fasting will just follow low carb. Just do low carb first sa simula, and eventually you will just surprise yourself na magugulat ka na lang at hindi ka na nagugutom. But on the first day, first few weeks, you do not need to think about lessening your food intake. You can eat as much as you want, but the more important aspect is the quality or the food that you are going to eat. Okay, so we have our next question when it comes to these concerns. Merong, Doc, sabi ni Maria Alona, I am hypertensive, hypoglycemic as well. How can I start LCF? Is it possible for me to practice this diet? So the answer for that is an easy yes, of course. And if we are to look into it, if we are going to be objective about it, you can easily see na hindi ka naka-high carb, hindi ka naka-low carb before, and with the recent findings sa research, eating high carb o yung standard diet, nung walang pangalan na diet, which is yung kung ano lang nandiyan, kung ano yung lulutuin ng mama natin, kung ano yung available natin, kung ano yung kinikrave natin, yung walang pangalan diet, it's the typical diet. And if we will look at the macronutrient composition ng typical diet na yun, it's actually very high in carbohydrates. That is why yung mga dating mga hindi nag-iisip sa kanilang kinakain, it's very common na eventually you will succumb to diabetes, to hypertension, fatty liver, pagkakaroon ng mga bukol-bukol, allergies, asthma, and other signs of inflammation. And it's coming from, aside from stress of course, inflammation na ang pinakamalaking contributor na is how we eat. So that is why, yes, pwede kang mag-low carb, especially if you can see na before you were diagnosed with these illness is galing ka sa high carb na way of eating. So, para sa mga loyalists natin, sa mga very helpful nating community members na na-reverse na yung kanilang hypertension and diabetes, kindly help Ma'am Alona. Tell her your own story. Kayo na mismo ang magsabi how you were able to do all this, because yes, it is really possible na ma-reverse po and ma-improve yung hypertension and hypoglycemic or hyperglycemic then. Hypoglycemic is low blood sugar. Yes, that can also be improved, but hypoglycemia is very rare unless you are taking medications. And so, kailangan muna, you have to look into your medications kung paano ito ma-alter in order for us to start low carb and fasting the right way. Kasi kapag may medications na po, hindi yan natin pwedeng basta-bastang tanggalin. It has to be guided, especially for those na merong mga hypertensive medications, yung mga amlodipine, losartan, nicardipine, at marami pang iba. Those shouldn't be, hindi yon, bawal na bawal yon, tanggalin bigla dahil meron tayong tinatawag na rebound hypertension. Yung pagtanggal mo ng gamot, bigla-bigla, it will instantly spike your blood sugar, and that can even lead into dangerous kind of hypertensive urgency. Yung biglang pag-shoot up ng blood pressure kasi sa sobrang tagal na nyo nang iniinom yung mga gamot na yon, it was suppressing it, and then the moment na you remove it immediately, doon nagkakaroon ng problem. There is a proper weaning schedule. Meron pong tamang schedule or step-by-step na pagbaba ng gamot kung kailan na ito safe na tanggalin. And those things are the ones that we help and guide other doctors also who are interested to learn low carb and fasting para mai-apply din nila sa kanilang mga pasyente. And this masterclass, we have this structured learning program, the LCF masterclass, na kahit yung mga pasyente mismo are open to learn it themselves so that mas madali yung pag-communicate nila sa kanilang doktor. It would be easy, it would be the best po if you are going to tackle this with your healthcare provider. So, next would be, good morning po, nare-reverse din ba ng low carb ang may myoma and pelvic problem? So, myoma and pelvic problem, usually this one si Janet, no? And this is related to female health. Female health is highly influenced by hormones, and our hormones is highly influenced by our nutrition. So, proper nutrition can actually improve our hormonal imbalances, including yung mga sakit na brought about by hormonal imbalances like pagkakaroon ng breast na tumors, our ovarian tumors, and many other parts of the reproductive system. Those are highly affected by our hormones, and correcting our nutrition can improve our hormones, especially if you incorporate circadian rhythm ng fasting. Circadian fasting is when you eat while the sun is still up, kung kailan ka active. So, when there is sun na, tapos na yung sunrise, you can already have your breakfast. But if you are looking into losing weight, healing, you can actually delay your breakfast for as long as you can. Like me now, hindi pa ako nagbe-breakfast, hindi pa ako nagla-lunch. So, I'm gonna have brunch after this, after our meeting. And yun, and when it comes to your dinner naman, you can move it as early as possible. So, before nighttime, before sundown, mas mabuti kung tapos na yung inyong dinner time. And when it comes to reversal, depende po yan sa laki. Tumors can shrink, but it can also enlarge. But usually, kapag na-diagnose na siya, it's usually long-term, long-standing na yan. You can do a trial of natural way to suppress it, like fasting and doing very, very clean and strict kind of low carb. Merong specific yan, yung tawag nating FMD or fast mimicking diet. You can try that. But of course, meron yung sense of urgency. If eto ay sobrang laki, it causes pain, it causes bleeding, it causes obstruction, then there might be a need for surgical correction. Kapag sinabi ng doktor ninyo na it's already recommended for surgery, that it is less likely to shrink on its own, na by research medyo mahihirapan ng mag-shrink on its own because malaki na nga, then we really recommend to follow your surgeon's advice, your OBGYN's advice na kailangan operahan na ito before it gets complicated. However, if it's not disturbing you, incidental finding lang, just like the other one na nagtanong na merong nakitang cysts sa kanyang thyroid, then you can just have it on observation. You can follow our low carb and fasting protocols for healing, and then you can see. Pero if ever there's already danger and warning signs, then all the more kailangan sundin natin yon to avoid other more serious complications. And yung isa pa dito is to rule out malignant causes. I-rule out natin yung possible cancers. Because if it's cancers, all the more na kailangan natin yung kunin para hindi ito mag-spread all over your body. But when it comes to female health, especially sa mga tita, mga kababaihan that are here right now in our Tanungan Thursday episode, you can be assured that eating low carb nutrition and incorporating your tolerable kind of fasting, hindi nyo kailangan pilitin, and you can be reassured that eventually your hormone will just become balanced. And speaking more of our female health and fertility, meron ditong very, very fertile na nanganak na. So sabi ni Nera, okay, Doc, is it safe po ba to do low carb or keto? Ang breastfeeding mommy, daughter is 14 months old po. So with this, breastfeeding, low carb is okay. Kung keto, make sure you are also getting all your needed nutrients. Kasi with keto, it's very, very high in fats. You might need a little more proteins. So low carb is just better. If it's full keto, baka magkaroon ka ng nutritional deficiency when it comes to lowered protein intake. So we need your protein to be secured. And that is why it is just okay to do liberal low carb, that is 50 grams of carbohydrates, and then increase your protein intake because your breast milk is not just composed of fats, it is also composed of important immunoglobulins that are proteins na kailangan ng iyong baby. And for other mommies, nakakapanganak pa lang, the first 6 months of life, 4 to 6 months of life of your babies, sila yung fully dependent on your breast milk. But after that one, they are already no longer fully dependent kasi pwede na silang mag-start kumain. And yes, they can also start with eating low carb that time. But when it comes to low carb and keto, yes, you can do that, but mostly we have to differentiate. It's just low carb that we really recommend because strict keto, 70% fats, 5% carbohydrates, and only 25% of your caloric needs will be coming from protein. So if that's the case, if 2,000 kilocalories, 25% would be coming from proteins, about 500, mga 100 grams of proteins, parang okay na din. You can probably get it, but just look at your goal. Dahil baka manghina ka, mangayayat ka, and you might have problems when it comes to your overall functioning kasi kailangan din ng nutrition, not just the milk that you are producing, but you yourself. So as much as possible that a low carb that is higher in proteins, moderate to high fats is okay. But strict keto, only 20 grams or less carbohydrates, that can be sometimes so low, especially sa mga mommies, and also increasing your protein intake. So those are your options po. You can easily do breastfeeding based on our LCF life hacks nung nakaraang NLCD, National Low Carb Day, ng three of the mommies that are closest to my heart, my sister Kath, Angela, and Mati. They share their own experience. Well, because the three of them already tried breastfeeding while on low carb. In fact, yung isang sister ko, nag-breastfeed siya while doing her regular IF na hindi puwersado, na hindi forced. And it's for my twin na nephews. At hindi kinukulang yung kanilang milk. They are even donating. So, make sure you ensure your proper electrolyte and fluid intake while doing so. But yes, low carb is very safe. And lastly, last na ba to? Ah, hindi pa. Meron ba yata tayong isa? Please tackle on loose scoops after breaking a fast. I suffer that always. I'm a clean low carber for a year. Goal achieved. So Joy, congratulations for achieving your weight goal. And I'm so happy and I trust that you are a clean low carber. Pero bakit may loose poops right after breaking your fast? Ano ito? It is actually you not following the proper breaking a fast protocol. I think I made a video about that mga 2 years ago. Sige, those are the options na kailangan nating i-review, no? Especially na iba na yung mukha ko doon. So, we will do another video. I will put that on my note para hindi ko makalimutan on how to break a fast properly. Kasi importante yan. If you, after you fast, for example, and then you eat right away at hindi sanay yung katawan ninyo, it will be like a conduit na parang empty yung inyong tiyan. So, lahat ng kakainin nyo, lalabas lang siya directly. So, that one, we need to address properly by taking a slow step for breaking a fast. You can start with fluids, light proteins, and give it 20 to 30 minutes break before you diretso mong kainin yung inyong main meal. Kasi tayo minsan, we are so excited to break our fast na sa simula pa lang, we go directly to our main course. So I hope you can do the breaking a fast protocol the right way. It's also in our book, yung Perfect at Last Weight, which tackles the fasting protocols, different types of fasting, and how you can do it safely. Kasi anybody can just do fasting. But hindi lahat are successful because the dangers actually is not while you're fasting, but the danger is how you break your fast. Kaya dapat pagtuunan natin ng pansin yan because it is very, very important. And the last question, sabi ni Liza, pwede ba mag-take ng food supplement ang naglo-low carb? Ang sagot dyan, depende sa food supplement. If it's not necessary, then there's no need for it. If it's necessary, then maybe it's not really a supplement, but something essential na kailangan natin, which goes to our second question, which would be, can I take melatonin as supplement kahit walang issue sa sleeping? And this one we tackled during the last National Low Carb Day. We thank our resource speaker, Sir Alan Pura, and of course, his friend who is the major proponent ng mga research on the importance of melatonin, Ma'am Doris Law. So, melatonin is okay to take as supplement at wala kayong kailangan i-worry when it comes to dependence because dapat talaga mataas yung melatonin natin every night. However, dahil nga sa mga gadgets natin, exposure to lights, artificial lights, hindi na tayo nagpapaaraw during the day, marami tayong mga stressful activities at night. So, yung ating natural melatonin production is now lowered. And research show na yung mga taong mababa sa melatonin in their body are also still prone to other stresses, inflammation, including diabetes. So, for me, yes na yes, you can take melatonin as supplement at hindi ito for sleeping. We have to know that melatonin is not for sleeping, it is for healing. It is a magical healing hormone. So kahit anong brand, it's okay. I have my own brands that I believe in, but until magkita kami, there's no need for those of you to really worry about those brands. Any trusted brand is okay. 3 milligram melatonin is just a starting dose. It's very, very small, and you can even take as high as 5 or even 10, 12, depende on how your physician will give you. But generally, it is very safe. It's very safe at wala po itong adverse effects, especially for those na gustong mag-heal. So, yon. And of course, remember to stick to our safe list. So, this is an updated nating JGC Rojo food list. So, yan. Bago na yung apelido ko dyan. Tingnan natin. Yan. That one. And I made some minor revisions. I will publish it soon para makapin ninyo yung ating 2022 JGC Rojo Tan food list? Is it okay? Mas humaba na ba? Sobrang haba na ba? We will see and we will send you a copy later on. I-upload natin for you to download. And just an update from our clinic, we still have some few slots open for our meet and greet on Dumaguete this coming October 22 and in Boracay on November 29. If makapag-book na kayo ng tickets, just send a message to our admin para masali kayo sa ating meet and greet this year. And of course, sa mga hindi nakasali ng National Low Carb Day, I hope you can join our Part 2 Low Carb Manila Fun Run and Family Day. And for those, the 1,200 plus amazing low carbers and fasters na pupunta sa PhilInvest Alabang, I hope you can still join us. It will be smoother. Inayos na po namin yung registration and the drinking stations para po mas maluwag at mas ma-enjoy natin yung araw na yon. So for those who wish to have LCF private sessions, kung hindi lang isa yung tanong ninyo, baka 10 o 20 or 100 yung tanong ninyo, maybe we might need to do an online appointment para matakol natin yan or do a face-to-face na consult na appointment private sessions, LCF private sessions with yours truly. I think meron pa tayong few slots available open for tomorrow. We have a face-to-face na appointment tomorrow in Ortigas LCF Center. Just message our admin chat for details. And our next face-to-face will be next month na po. This year, once a month lang to nangyayari. So, once this October, once this coming November, and isa din po this coming December. So, kindly have that scheduled with our admin chat for details. And this is yours truly, Diet Doctora, Dr. Josephine Reyes Chuwarahatan, for our Tanungan Thursday episode. Maraming salamat guys for being here. And of course, thank you still to our sponsors who have been with us during the National Low Carb Day. Maraming salamat po. And always remember to stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Bye everyone.